From myths to reality, the Nephilim, ancient gods, and biblical truths. Ever wondered how our ancestors managed to pull off those crazy feats like building the pyramids? It's not just human brainpower at play here. There's a theory, and it's more than just a wild guess, that fallen angels, the ones mentioned in the Bible, the Book of Enoch, and the Book of Giants, were deeply involved in shaping human history. These angels didn't just turn their backs on God, they brought some serious knowledge and tech to us, stuff that shaped everything we know. And their kids, the Nephilim, weren't just big blokes roaming around. They're the ones we now know as the gods of Norse, Greek, and Egyptian mythology. It's a story that connects the dots between myths, legends, and real history. Let's start with the fallen angels. In Genesis chapter 6 verses 1-4 the Bible says, "And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose." There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. These sons of God are believed to be the Watchers, angels who were meant to keep an eye on humanity, but instead of sticking to the plan, they got involved with humans in ways they shouldn't have, setting off a chain of events that changed everything. The Book of Enoch gives us even more details. It says these Watchers came down to earth and spilled the beans on all kinds of knowledge. They taught people how to work with metal, make weapons, study the stars, and even use makeup. This wasn't just random info, it was game-changing stuff. Think about the pyramids in Egypt. How did people back then figure out the maths and engineering needed to build something so perfect and long-lasting? Could they really have done it without some kind of otherworldly help? The Great Pyramid of Giza is next-level amazing. Its alignment with the stars and its precision suggests knowledge way ahead of its time. And it's not just Egypt. All over the world, from Stonehenge to ziggurats in Mesopotamia to temples in South America, you'll find similar mind-blowing structures. These aren't random, they're connected. If the fallen angels shared their knowledge or even lent a hand, it explains why so many advanced civilizations popped up around the same time. Now let's talk about the Nephilim. These guys weren't just physically massive, they were big deals in every sense. As the children of fallen angels and human women, they had extraordinary power and presence. Look at Greek mythology. The Titans, these massive, chaotic forces of nature, sound a lot like the Nephilim. Sure, they were eventually overthrown by the Olympian gods, but their impact was huge. Norse mythology tells of the Jotnar, giants who were both allies and enemies of the gods, and in Egypt, gods like Osiris, Isis, and Horus have that mix of divine and human traits, hinting at a Nephilim connection. The Book of Giants, found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, gives us even more juicy details. It describes the Nephilim as huge, with insatiable appetites that led to chaos and destruction. Things got so bad that divine intervention was needed to sort things out. Doesn't that sound like the myths of gods battling giants, like the Greek Gigantomachy or the Norse Ragnarok? These stories feel like echoes of real events, passed down and reshaped over time. Then there's the knowledge these fallen angels shared. They didn't just teach us how to build or fight, they changed the way we think, pushing humanity forward in massive ways. One of their leaders, Azazel, taught people how to make weapons and jewelry. This wasn't just about survival, it was about power, beauty, and influence. Written language, farming, and working with metals, all these breakthroughs might trace back to what the Watchers taught us. But it wasn't all good. This knowledge also brought corruption and violence, leading to the Great Flood as a kind of divine reset. From a Christian perspective, it's crucial to see this as more than just a history lesson. These events highlight the consequences of rebellion against God's order. The fallen angels' actions were not just acts of disobedience, but deliberate attempts to corrupt God's creation. The Nephilim, their offspring, represented the physical and spiritual consequences of this rebellion. It's a stark reminder of the spiritual warfare that continues to this day. As Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12 KJV says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." The battle isn't over, and understanding this history can prepare us to stand firm in faith. When you look at myths, legends, and ancient texts from around the world, The fallen angels and their Nephilim kids are everywhere. The mighty gods of Olympus, the mysterious deities of Egypt, even the heroes of folklore. They all seem to carry traces of this celestial connection. And the pyramids and other massive ancient structures, they're like monuments to a time when divine beings walked the earth, sharing their knowledge and leaving a lasting mark. So, what does this all mean for us? It's not just about looking at old myths or admiring ancient buildings. It's about realizing that our history might be way more intertwined with the divine than we've ever imagined. The fallen angels and their Nephilim offspring weren't just some random blip in the past. They were architects of civilization as we know it, for better or worse. Their story is a reminder of what humanity can achieve, and the dangers of overreaching. When you think about it this way, everything, from the stars to the stones, feels a little more magical, a little more connected to something bigger. Most importantly, this perspective calls us back to God. The Bible is clear that while humanity has been influenced by fallen beings, God's sovereignty remains unshaken. The ultimate victory belongs to Him, and through Christ, we are part of that victory. By studying these events, we don't just learn about the past, we equip ourselves for the present and the future, standing firm in God's truth and love.